Subscribe to Bloody Monday and watch chilling horror stories almost every week. Don't forget to press the bell icon.
Steve, who lived in America, was always fond of visiting the circus to watch the Joker perform its tricks, but a horrific incident happened with him when he was about 13 years old, and since then, even looking at a Joker's picture sends shivers down his spine. One night, Steve was returning home after celebrating the Halloween's night with his friends. He was about to reach his home when he saw a man dressed in the Joker's costume. The Joker stared at Steve and called him. Steve was very excited to see the Joker and quickly went to him. The Joker first shook hands with Steve and then he snapped his fingers through his left ear. Suddenly, a candy appeared in the Joker's hand, which he gave to Steve. Steve was rejoiced seeing the trick. He thanked the Joker and started walking away. However, the Joker stopped him and stared him down with his vicious eyes. Steve could sense the tension around, and seeing his red, scary eyes, he started panicking. The Joker gave him a pack of cards and asked him to choose any one card from it. Steve hesitantly picked a card. It was Jack of Diamonds. Steve put the card back in the deck and shuffled it before handing it back to the Joker. The Joker took out a card from the pack and put it in his own pocket. The Joker snapped again, and the card was now in Steve's pocket. When Steve saw the card, he was scared to death. It was the Joker card, and the Joker's image in the card was shedding blood from his eyes. A startled Steve threw the card away. As he looked up, the Joker was also shedding blood from his eyes. Steve ran away with all his might, but when he looked back, the Joker was standing right behind him. The Joker pulled out a knife from his coat. Steve took the Joker's stick and summoned up all his strength to hit him on the leg. He started running again, but the Joker kept following him with a limp and an evil laughter. Steve couldn't understand what was happening. The faster he ran, the closer the Joker came to him with his knife. As soon as Steve turned to lane towards his house, he saw the same Joker standing in front of him. Steve couldn't believe his eyes. Then he turned back and saw the same Joker coming from behind. Steve was winded out with all the running and started feeling dizzy. Steve lied unconscious, only to wake up in a hospital the next morning. It was a miracle that he survived such a major accident. But that encounter with the Joker scared him for life. Until this day, he has nightmares of that Joker running to him with the knife.
Come play Halloween. Halloween is the most popular festival among kids, and the way it is celebrated makes it even more special. But no one knew that the Halloween of 2016 would turn out to be a nightmare for a 12-year-old boy named Adam. Adam was an extraordinary child. He wrote, sang, and was a class topper too. But despite being so talented, he didn't have any friends. He was a bit awkward at making conversations, and the other kids at school used to tease him and call him a weirdo. Even on Halloween Eve, Adam didn't have anyone to accompany him for the trick-or-treat custom, where the kids went knocking at doors for candies. When he left his home, he found a few of his classmates outside who started bullying Adam. Adam started to cry and ran away. Adam ran and reached some unknown street. He wiped off his tears and looked around. He saw an old house at some distance. He went there to ask for candies, but the house was locked up from the outside. He was about to return when he found a wooden box outside the house. When he opened the box, he found an iPad inside it. The moment Adam touched the iPad, the screen lit up. "Come play!" This text appeared on it. This made Adam really happy, and he took the iPad with him. After returning home, when his mom asked him about the iPad, he told her that he found it lying on the road and went to his room. Adam started playing with the iPad again, but this time the screen did not read "Come play," but had a strange creature appear on it. that confused Adam. Now the name of the monster appeared on the screen. Larry. As Adam kept swiping, he found out more and more about Larry. Larry is very sweet, but others make fun of him because he looks different. Nobody gives him food, and nobody wants to be friends with him. Will you be his friend? Adam felt bad for Larry after reading this, but he was unaware of the dreadful creature he was about to encounter. Just then, the text on the screen read, "Larry lives behind windows and glass." That's when the lights in his room started flickering and all the street dogs started howling together. Adam didn't understand what was happening until his gaze went to the window, and his heart skipped a beat. The same creature from the game was standing on the window and kept staring at Adam. It started opening the window slowly at first. Seeing this, Adam was scared out of his wits and ran out of his room calling for his mom. As soon as he got to his mom's room, he saw that his mother's body was hanging by the mirror and her eyes were popping out. Seeing this, Adam started to black out. He then again heard a knock on the window. The same creature, Larry, was standing over there. When Larry came close to Adam and tried attacking him, Adam got so scared that he fainted. When Adam woke up, he was in the hospital. His father told him that there was a robbery at the house and the thieves killed his mother. Adam didn't believe his father. The creature's image, or rather the monster's image, was stuck in Adam's mind forever. After that incident, Adam searched for the iPad in the entire house, but couldn't find it. Since that day, Adam never saw the creature again. What do you think? Was there really a Larry? Or was it just a figment of Adam's imagination?
This is the story of 150-year-old City Theatre situated in an American town called Biddeford. In 1894, the theatre caught a huge fire which burnt down the entire building. 2 years later, the City Theatre was renovated and opened for performances. If the performers are to be believed, since its renovation, they felt a sort of suffocation every time they stepped onto the stage. Performers ran out of breath during practice, and they even caught glimpses of shadows of the dead people. All these occurrences had filled them with fear, but the incident of 1904 changed the scenario of the theatre completely. On the night of Halloween, a beautiful 33-year-old opera singer, Eva Gray, died on stage while performing. She had a sudden cardiac arrest and lost her life on the spot. It is said that since then, the spirit of Eva Gray wanders within the City Theatre. But Erica was totally unaware of all this. The year was 2016, and on the night of Halloween, Erica had to represent her college and perform a play. Her theatre group was allotted the Biddeford City Theatre for rehearsals. She reached the City Theatre way before any of her group members, and she thought she'll start rehearsing till they arrive. The theatre was humongous, but it wasn't well maintained. Not a single person was to be found in the huge theatre. Erica was a little scared being all alone in a theatre, but she tried to keep her entire focus on her performance. She was rehearsing for her part when suddenly she heard someone clapping. She looked towards the audience but couldn't find anyone. After a while, the chandelier in the centre lit up, and she could see a woman in the balcony staring at her. When Erica asked, "Who's there?" no one responded, and the woman disappeared from the balcony. Erica was startled, and she didn't know what was happening to her. She wasn't able to breathe properly, as if someone was choking her throat. She understood it's not safe to be here anymore, and she ran towards the exit. But none of the exit gates were open. Suddenly, all the lights in the theatre were switched on, and a piece of music started to play. The theatre now was filled with people. When she looked towards the stage, she found a scary woman singing. This was the same woman who was staring at her from the balcony. That's when she heard the gates banging. When the gates opened, her group members from college walked in. Erica turned back, and everything was back to normal, just like before. Neither was there anyone on stage, nor in the audience. There was no music to be heard, and even the chandelier was turned off. When Erica told this incident to her friends and the manager of the City Theatre, she came to know about the story of Eva Gray. Since then, Erica got too scared to perform on stage, and she quit her dreams of acting forever. People say that every year on Halloween's night, Eva comes on stage in the City Theatre and finishes her performance that she left incomplete on the day she died. And if someone stops her from doing so, she kills that person. This is the story of David, who lived in a small town in the States. It was the night of Halloween, and everybody was busy celebrating it. Halloween night is celebrated in the memory of those close ones who are no longer in this world. For instance, family members, soldiers who died in the war, or people who contributed a lot towards society. It is believed that on this night, a passage opens between the real world and the world of the dead, and the people who remember that day come to meet their loved ones through that passage. David was also busy in the preparation of Halloween, and his Uncle Anderson had invited him over for dinner. Uncle Anderson's wife had been missing for the past 4 years, and since then he had been acting very strangely. David didn't like his uncle one bit, but he was very fond of his aunt, and that's why he decided to meet his uncle after 4 years. When he reached there, he was taken aback by seeing Uncle Anderson's condition. It seemed he hasn't slept for years. None of the light bulbs in the house were turned on, except one. David felt very uncomfortable over there. He was talking to his uncle when he heard someone in the kitchen. It sounded as if someone was cooking. This reminded him of his aunt, who always used to cook for him whenever he visited them. He asked his uncle, "Is there anyone else in the house?" His uncle quickly dismissed him by saying there was no one else. After a while, that lone light bulb started to flicker. When Uncle Anderson went to check it, somebody called David's name. David, I had been waiting for you. What took you so long? The voice was clearly of his aunt. Auntie? Is that you? In that flickering light, he saw the spirit of his aunt, who was standing right in front of him. Then the spirit quietly went towards the basement of the house. David somehow managed the courage to follow the spirit. When he reached the basement, the spirit was nowhere to be found, but what he saw was the most horrific thing he had ever seen. He straight away called the police and told them everything. He saw a statue of Satan, the devil god, and in front of it laid 4 rotten dead bodies. David started feeling dizzy and fell on the floor unconscious. When David woke up, he couldn't move. He was tied up on the chair, and Uncle Anderson was praying to Satan. David thought this was going to be the last day of his life. But fortunately for David, the police arrived just in time. The police arrested his uncle and managed to save David's life. After the interrogation, they came to know that out of the 4 dead bodies, one of them was his wife's. The 3 remaining bodies were the people who have gone missing from the city in the past 4 years. Every Halloween's night, Anderson sacrificed one life to Satan, so the devil god can make him immortal. That's why he had murdered all those 4 people. Maybe David wouldn't have lived if his aunt's spirit didn't appear in front of him at the right time. David took away all the bodies and gave each of them a proper burial. Since then, every Halloween night, he devotes his time in public service.
If you like this video, subscribe to Bloody Monday and watch chilling horror stories almost every week.